Due to the narcissist's inability to be clear in their communication, to want to devalue and gaslight his victim, he's going to create certain emotions and feelings and mental indicators and effects of the narcissistic abuse. Survivors of narcissistic abuse have declared what they felt. They've come forward and they've shared with me. I myself know from personal experience the mental anguish that you experience, living with someone who is diagnosed with NPD. Now, one of the things that you will feel is severe anxiety. The reason you feel severe anxiety is because you don't know where you stand. You don't know how to get through to this person. You don't know how to make them happy. You don't know what makes them happy. Their communication to you is cryptic and cryptic is not clear. If it's clear, then it's not narcissistic abuse, it's something else. They endeavor to create a blur, a brain fog, anxiety, and complete detachment from reality so that they sweep you up into their fantasy world and you disassociate from the real world that you live in. The reality that you perceive from head to toe, inside out, through your five senses, through your faculties of rationale, judgment, perception, sight, sound, hearing, taste, smell, etc. All of this, he wants to override your operating system, your OS, and sweep you into his OS, which is a crazy world based on delusion and projections. The narcissist does not live in the real world. So they want to bring you into their crazy world and control you so that you become as crazy as they are, if not worse. They also want to break you down because in order for them to have full control over you, you cannot be allowed to use your own brain to think. I mean, that is a privilege for free people. You, my dear, are his slave. So therefore, you're going to suffer all types of mental anguish, anxiety, and issues. Like I've mentioned, there's disassociation where you become so frazzled by this treatment that you start to have this vacant, empty, glazed over look. And your family and friends will call you a nervous wreck. They did to me after just a few months of being married. People who have known me my entire life would be like, Kutsia, what's happening to you? You're not yourself. You're not yourself around this person and we don't like who you've become. You look like a nervous wreck. You are tiptoeing around him on eggshells, trying to make him and soothe him and make him feel better. But you are totally invalidating and dismissing your own needs and feelings and thoughts and opinions and suppressing yourself. And we don't know this version of you. This is not Kutsia. So what they had witnessed was a very dull, glazed over, vacant look in my eyes. When they would ask me questions, I would not know how to respond because all that was happening in my head was a huge bundle of confusion. There was just a matted mess of tumbleweed, floating and blowing through my brain because I had become numb. I had lost sensory perception and feeling. I had lost my own sense of judgment. I had lost my own voice, my own opinion. I wasn't allowed to express myself. Every expression of myself that I had made had become a problem so that I was stifling my voice. It's like the inner child in me was screaming, let me out, let me out. And I opened the door to the basement and I go, shut up. You're going to make him upset. Slam the door shut. And then my poor inner child was completely abandoned. And without her, I lose sight of who I am, really. So, we live through our inner child and we have to heal those wounds in order to live our best lives. But I wasn't allowed access to her. I had to quiet her voice, quell her, suppress her, stifle her, snuff out her light, stuff her voice down and just make her cease to exist so that all that was existing of me was this outer shell that looks like a woman and a human being, but inside was empty, was becoming empty and vacant and hollow because it was being sucked out by this energy vampire. It was being depleted. It was being just completely drained. And that, coupled with the exhaustion, the mental fatigue, the psychological, emotional, and physical fatigue of having to deal with this character day in and day out, just leaves you feeling like you're not even a human being anymore, like you're not even alive. And that's what makes it even easier to forego your human rights, to submit to his every will, and to be subservient to his control and domination and tyranny. Because now, if you have no voice, if you're not even a whole human, you are not going to stand up for yourself, you're not going to defend yourself, you're not going to talk about your needs. You're going to base your whole life catering to his needs and tiptoeing around his fragile emotions and his dysregulated sense of mind, and how any small little thing sets him off. For my ex, if I gave him a list and sent him shopping, he had a nervous breakdown at the shop and then came home and took it out on me because he couldn't find certain items that I'd asked for, even though I sent him pictures of what the items looked like. Another example is I had sent him to go around the corner where we live to give the beggar or the security guard some food that I had packed up for him. And so he went there and he was driving on for half an hour instead of going around the corner, which he went by car, but he didn't just go back and come home. He drove around for half an hour, psyching himself up because he had severe anxiety just to give this man, this African dude, some food. So he gets home half an hour later and I'm like, where were you? And then he was like, I can't handle this anymore. I tried to give him the food, but I couldn't even summon the courage to get out of the car and just to give him the food. I was like, you didn't even need to speak to him. You could have just wind down your window and hand him the food. He can read your body language. Like, yes, but it's too much for me. It's too much. I can't handle it. Don't ask me to go out again. Don't ask me to give anyone anything again. And I'm just sitting there like, this is meant to be the man of the house, the shepherd of the flock, the leader of the household, the king of the castle. And a simple action or errand sets him off so dysregulated and dysfunctional that I have to now soothe him. It's okay, my darling. It's okay. Calm down. You'll be okay. What can I get you? Would you like something to eat? Would you like something to drink? Shall I? It becomes another baby. And not even a baby is that dependent and self-insufficient. Not even a baby is that needy. I mean, I have kids and they don't even do that. I could send them on an errand, they would do it and come back and that's over. Not with a covert narcissist who has completely dysregulated emotions and dysregulated mental state. This is my eczema acting up, by the way, because of the stress and anxiety that I have gone through. My body's still getting rid of all the symptoms. The physical is bad, and I made a video about that. I'll link it up here. But the mental anguish is longer lasting. Just like if you were to receive a slap or a punch and you had a bruise on your arm, which thankfully I did not have, but if you were to be physically abused, it would take a couple days up to a week for the bruise to fade away. For the redness from the striking and slap to disappear, would take like a few minutes or hours, depending. But the mental anguish, which is what this video is about, is far longer lasting because its insidious nature means that it's from the unseen, it's hidden, it's beneath the surface, it's subliminal, it's psychological, it's deep into your OS, your operating system. It goes into the very core of who you are, and naturally that will take longer to remove and to purge. You will be plagued with self-doubt. You will doubt every thought, belief, opinion, and judgment of yours. You will have a huge amount of brain fog. Thoughts will not be clear. You will just be, as I said, staring like a vacant zombie, and people will be like, what is wrong with her? Like, is she okay? Sometimes you don't even have the brain cells to string a sentence together. Somebody asks you, how was your day? And you just stunted and stunned, and you don't know how to answer because you have lost all access to your feelings and to who you are as a person. And it's dehumanizing the effects that this mental abuse has on you. You will have panic attacks, and you will have the trauma activating your lower primitive part of the brain, so that you're in constant survival mode and fight or flight. You will not be able to live and thrive like a normal human being, which progresses and ascends and accelerates in their goals and development and pursuit. But the reason why the mental anguish and anxiety is so addictive, and why this causes or creates a trauma bond, is because what they do is they do intermittent reinforcement. So they are wonderful to you, then they treat you like shit. Then they're wonderful to you, then they treat you like crap. And this keeps repeating. So what this does in your brain is it causes a spike of dopamine, and then a spike of cortisol. Then a spike of dopamine and a spike of cortisol. And dopamine, cortisol keeps you addicted. Like a gambler who wins sometimes, loses sometimes. Keeps them enmeshed and entrapped in this bond, this trauma bond. Because they're hoping, like an addiction, like an addict, they're hoping for the next hit. When they treat you like crap, you are craving and hungry for that next upward swing of their emotions, so that you can regulate again. Once you regulate, they go down again. It's a roller coaster. It's a horror roller coaster from hell. So it's up and down and up and down, and this keeps a lot of women addicted. What you need to get out of it, and you can find this in my course, link is in the description below, How to Survive Narcissistic Abuse and Recovery, is to basically gather your strength, your free will, and your self-esteem to step out of that, and to realize that you don't want to be on this roller coaster anymore. You want to self-regulate and stick to the path. So if the roller coaster is like this, you want to flatten the curve and make it as flat as possible, so that you're on a straight line. Now, he will not allow you to do this, but you will need to fight for your life. And that's why I'm here to help you. That is why I make everything that I do on this channel and in my course below, because I've had to come out of this myself. And if I can do it, you can. All my love. Goodbye and Assalamu alaikum.